All right, guys, welcome back to Liquid Lore. Today we are covering the Bourbon Renewal. It's been a favorite of mine recently, so we're going to dive into the history straight away. The Bourbon Renewal is a relatively new cocktail in the terms of cocktail history. It was created sometime in the early 2000s by Jeffrey Morgenthaler. I've seen dates that say 2001, but Jeffrey Morgenthaler's blog has it published in around 2004. So me being the cocktail Sherlock Holmes that I am, it was probably created sometime between 2001 and 2004, and then Jeffrey Morgenthaler posted a full write-up on it in 2004. So the Bourbon Renewal is probably Morgenthaler's most popular cocktail. If you don't know who Jeffrey Morgenthaler is, I'll go ahead and give you a quick introduction to him because he really is an important person in the cocktail space. Jeffrey Morgenthaler is an award-winning bartender and author from Portland, Oregon. He's been working behind the bar since 1996 and writing his blogs and for other magazines and publications since around 2004. He's worked anywhere from taverns to fancy cocktail bars, restaurants, dive bars, you name it, he's worked at it. His main piece of work is his blog, which you can find at jeffreymorgenthaler.com. I would recommend getting lost in it. It's a great collection of just cocktail knowledge and all things mixology. He's the co-owner of Portland's Pacific Standard, and prior to this, he was the manager at Clyde Commons, which was nominated around 7 times for a James Beard Award for their bar program, and then also at Pepe La Moco, which two very famous establishments, and he was spearheading both of them. So that says something in of itself. He's also a columnist for many world-famous publications. Clearly, Jeffrey Morgenthaler knows his stuff. His work has been extremely instrumental to me in my cocktail and bartending knowledge, and as far as me diving into history, it's been invaluable. So I would highly recommend just diving into his work, getting lost, getting his books. They're priceless. You're going to learn so much just going through his stuff, so I highly recommend it. But let's get back to the Bourbon Renewal. So the Bourbon Renewal is a bourbon drink, obviously, but it's incredibly well balanced and it's absolutely delicious. It's really going to leave you longing for another sip. The story goes that Jeffrey created this at the Bellamy Lounge in Oregon, and he named it after his friend, band member, and business partner, Tony Fagoli. Jeffrey Morgenthaler is cited saying, I'll read the quote directly, "I thought the name was absolutely brilliant, so I decided to do up a drink to commemorate the band and my favorite spirit at the time, and thus the Bourbon Renewal was born." So it really was as simple as that. He was just making a drink like he's probably done thousands of times before, and this one just happened to stick because it's such a well-balanced bourbon-forward drink. The recipe is as follows. You have 2 ounces of bourbon, you have 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice, half an ounce creme de cassis, half an ounce simple syrup, 1 dash of Angostura bitters. You shake all those up until it's chilled, and then you'll strain it into an old-fashioned glass over ice. Garnish it with a lemon wedge, and if in season, you can also garnish with fresh currants. I would say that if you do want the drink to be a little bit sweeter, I know some people just prefer sweeter cocktails, then you can play with how much lemon juice you put in it. It calls for 1 ounce of lemon juice, but you can knock it down to 3/4 of an ounce, and that would be perfectly fine. And it will give you a little bit sweeter taste, which some people just prefer. So I would play around with the recipe. Overall, this is a great foundational recipe, and you can really adjust it to your own specific palate. But that is the Bourbon Renewal. If you haven't tried it, I'd highly recommend giving it a try. If you want to see it mixed, Anders Ericsson's YouTube channel, he just whipped up a really cool Bourbon Renewal. So go over there, check it out. Come back here. Let me know what you think. If you give it a try, or if you made any variations to it, please let me know, because I'm always experimenting with the Bourbon Renewal because it's one of my favorites. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy some cocktails for me, and see you then. Cheers.